Hello guys, sorry I'm late. This is Xah Talk Show. Today is March 24th, 2019. And today we're gonna talk about keyboards. I'm 5 minutes late. So we're gonna talk about keyboards and mouse and related topics. So today's topic is going to be, let's go to my list of topics. So talk, show in browser. So these are the topics I'm going to talk about. And okay, first of all, I need to clean the messages here. Hi guys, type in the messages chat to let me know. So today is 24th, and the topic is going to be. Let's copy the topic. Copy. Switch back to Google. Google. Hi guys. Hi guys. Hi guys. Type in the chat, top chat. Any comment, question, I'll talk about it. Question, comment, question, or your opinion. Okay, so and there's one more thing to do, then we'll begin. I'm doing a little buffer for those coming into the show. So here's the topics. You will see it in the video info box below. There it is. And today is 24th. Right. Okay, so we got 3 guys here. Good evening. Okay, so let's start. Let me just begin then. Let's go to Brave browser. I'm going to begin by going through my keyboard blog. Xah keyboard. And I'm going to give you a introduction of the website. So there are lots of things. I love keyboards. I've been studying keyboards for like 15 years. Various topics related to keyboard, key binding, keyboard design, key switch mechanisms, some of the electronics, how they work, the operating system software to remap keys, how they work, and the efficiency of layouts, for example, QWERTY versus Vorak versus Cormac, and so on. There are quite a few. And typing habits. Yeah, so let's begin with the. Let me just give you a walkthrough. Then, now again, keep the comment. Type something, okay? Hi guys. Type me something so I know, where I'm going. Um, if I am going into the direction you like, if you want me to cover some other things, just say something in the box. You can say anything. Like this is a chat. This is a chat show. Okay, so this is my website. Xah Keyboard blog. I blog about keyboard like every day, almost every day. Keyboards and mouse. Oops. Oh, so that one is the gooseneck. These days they have the gooseneck for holding iPad, iPhone, and stuff. Let's turn on JavaScript. Super slow, a little bit slow. Anyway, this device is gooseneck. Hey, great to see you again, Norman. Break the loop. How's your Sunday? So you said since you dislike LaTeX, Have you ever had a need to write mathematics using a computer? Yes, of course, I need to do that all the time. So, if so, how do you like to write math on a computer if you do not use LaTeX? That's a hard question. Actually, I don't have the answer. I mean, I've been seeking for the answer for, in the past 20 years. There's no um, good answer. Uh, So Norman says, speaking of keyboards, I ordered a Kinesis 2 recently. Great, Kinesis Advantage 2. That's what I use. So yeah, about the math, let me talk about that a little bit. Yeah, so that's a huge topic, so I can talk about that for an hour. But essentially, um, yeah, that's gonna be a big topic. Uh, why don't we? Let me talk about keyboard first. Then maybe after 30 minutes, then we switch to that subject. So remind me. Okay, break the loop. If it's you know, let's cover some keyboard first because um, I told people that we're gonna talk about keyboard. So anyway, so this is my keyboard side. So you have ergonomic keyboards. I suffered from typing problems since 2006. Yes, that's when I was using a laptop every day exclusively for 2 years. That's my first RSI, repetitive strain injury. Uh, that's when I switched to a Microsoft Natural keyboard, which is not this one, but the one but actually I have this one. Okay, so that's my history of using keyboard. But anyway, so in 2006, I was typing on a laptop every day for 2 years, and I got hand problems. Then I switched to this one. I don't like the ergonomic keyboards. I mean, I've been typing for 15 years before, since 1990. So I didn't like the. I've seen this. I didn't like it because it's funny they put the B here, um, and they put the six on the left hand side. The six should be on the right hand side. But anyway, I didn't like it because I was using Emacs, and I always use the right hand to press this key. This key is B, but on Vorak layout it's X. So it was my habit to use my left hand to hold the control key down and use my right hand to press the X on a normal keyboard. So I didn't like this. But anyway, so but because I had hand problems since 2006, I forced myself to use this keyboard. And once I got used to it, after a month or two, I now I must have ergonomic keyboard is a must have. When you type on a straight keyboard again, like within a minute you feel pain. Yeah, and this keyboard I also bought. I use this one. Um, so this one I used for 3 years. The other one I used for something like 4 years. Uh, this one. So okay, so I can actually go into a history of what keyboards I've used. But let's get back to on the on my keyboard blog site. Okay, so keyboard. Okay, yeah, let's talk about math. Maybe later on, because maybe so. I have an Norman says I have an older version of MS Natural keyboard, not mechanical, mushy. Yeah, exactly, mushy rubber dome switches. Yeah, so okay, so let me quickly go over the what I have here. So keyboard guide, ergonomic keyboard. So this section is all the ergonomic keyboard I reviewed. Now I don't have all of them. I actually only have like 4 or 5 keyboards. So I have this one. I have this one, and I have this one, and I have this one. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. And I had this one. I threw it away because the Microsoft Natural keyboard, this particular one 4000. The space bar, it's got a very bad problem of the stiff space bar. The space bar is very heavy, very stiff, um, and that's causing me problems after 3 years. So after 3 years, I switched back to the older, the previous model. This one is better. I mean, so keyboard is funny, with repetitive strain injuries, you cannot exactly tell. For example, so they have this model first, the natural multimedia keyboard. Then they have this model, which has actually more curves. So it's like technically it's more improved because they have more curves and but actually it is on this keyboard I developed two issues, two problems that caused me hand pain. I don't. It's not exactly pain, but I mean, so RSI is a very complicated issue, repetitive strain injury. First symptom is some kind of discomfort. Like right now, I have discomfort over here. That's the first symptom. Then you feel numbness. Sometimes it's, I mean, for different people, it's different things. Sometimes for some people, it's this finger, or for some people, it's the knuckles here. I mean, there are stories on the web. I can like point you out. Um, yes, I mean, like, but I want, so, like, there's so many things I can point to. But anyway, let me so I want to, keep on track instead of going all over the place. So for many people, it's different symptoms. But anyway, so in different places. Sometimes it's a wrist over here. So for some people it's a finger, some people it's a knuckle, some people it's a thumb. Um, and and for me currently right now it's over here. I mean, again, this RSI issue is hard to describe. It's like when you go to a doctor, the doctor says, "So okay, what's wrong?" And it's hard to describe exactly the pinpoint. So that's why, and technically RSI is not completely understood by the sciences. I mean, there's no we don't understand exactly what caused it 100%. I mean, for sure, you type too much, or you play tennis every day, or you play piano, you get problems, or guitar, you get RSI, um, problems. But we don't really know exactly what's going on 100%. And often also the other thing is that when you visit doctors, I mean, many people would have, many programmers, I have stories from programmers all the time, and also you can see them on Reddit or Hacker News almost every month. You search for Emacs Pinky, or you search for keyboard RSI, you keep watching it. It'll happen every month. Then people will talk about it, what they did, and then there's a link to other websites, and you'll see them also on Stack Over News. You just search for, looking for keywords like Emacs, Pinky, keyboard, hand pen. You'll see them almost every month. And some of the stories are horrible stories. I mean, if you are a programmer, your livelihood depends on typing a lot. And if you have hand pen, you cannot type anymore. And it's very bad for your career. But these days, of course, you have voice dictation, which is very good today. Actually, it helps. Actually, we can do a voice dictation demo on the Mac. I did that in a few months ago in a video. It's very fun. But anyway, so yeah, so many issues. But let me quickly get over the topics like what I have here. Hi, Matthews. So here's a list of ergonomic keyboards. My recommendations. Typically, I go like I have heavy interest in these things, keyboards. In the beginning, it's like I want to buy a keyboard, maybe because hand pen, or because I need a new keyboard. My keyboard is old. Then you window shop, online. You look at Amazon, you read the reviews, but it's undecided. So tomorrow you read more reviews, and it's still undecided. After a month, I keep reading, So after a year, I still didn't have I didn't buy the keyboard, but I've read all the articles like out there. So that's kind of also part of the reason how I began to write about all these keyboards. Um, because part of the reason is like I'm the personality. I like to gather information. I don't make decisions easily. That's kind of like a flaw, actually. So I gather information. Just exactly which is better. Okay, they differ by $10, only $10, but so so I'm not still decided. So look at every aspect. So anyway, so here's a bunch of ergonomic keyboard, and here is I have a list of PC keyboards. PC keyboards, which is the most popular. Okay, and here we have fun keyboards. These are kind of exotic keyboards or novelty keyboards. For example, this one, it lights up. Very expensive though. It's like few $100s. Um, each one is actually a liquid crystal display or some kind of it can do animations. It can show it can actually show a small movie like so each one they and in the beginning like around 2001, this is the first one they come up. It's on Slashdot, which is a news for nerds website. It's like Hacker News back in 2001. It's a first website uh, of that kind. And this one was the first one that says we're gonna make these. Each key is actually a little TV. uh, and when it didn't come out after like 5 years or something. But when it finally come out, the price is like $2,000, $2,600. Okay, there's a video. Let's see if I can watch the video. But anyway, this is like back then. Today you have other technologies to have display on each key, and it's cheaper, like e-paper. Let's show it again. Yeah, so here's a video. You can see the first version of the. But anyway, so a bunch of fun keyboards. Hey, Web Dog. Good morning. Uh, hey, Matthews. I ordered an Ergodox EZ. That's great. So you also have wooden keyboards. One thing interesting is that in China, all the keyboards or any electronic devices, it's like 6 times cheaper. In China, it's quite amazing. Not even 6 times. Yeah, well, in general, like everything you buy is like six times cheaper. And there are a lot of wooden keyboards they sell in China too. So anyway, this page is just collection of funky things. Like there are people. This guy, he's got a 1,000 function keys, a power station, a battle station. So for this guy, whatever you want to do is just press one key. You press one key and something is done. Um, and So there are quite several of these people. So for example, this guy, he's got now this keyboard is made by Matron, the company who also makes the Matron keyboard. It's the design is originally for those disabled, like they only have one hand, or they have difficulties with their fingers and so on. But anyway, this guy put two of them together and another one in the middle. Um, so this is supposed to be a single-handed keyboard. So just on the right side, it you have enough keys to for all the letters. That's the intended operational use. Um, Yeah, but this guy is funny. He's on Twitter, by the way. He's this guy. He's a friend, David Cole. And he's so much into keyboards too. So he got all these. All these are his photos, I think. Yeah, I think all of them. Uh, yeah, and this one-handed keyboard, the Motron keyboards, they are not cheap. Like I don't know how much is this one, but I suppose it's at least probably 400 or more, at least 300, I would say. Motron, for some reason, their keyboard, this is Motron. Um, yeah, I'm going to show you some videos as well, but you can see, I have a Kinesis. Let's see if I can do this. So I have a Kinesis keyboard here, which is like, yeah, you can see it, which is like this one. That's what I have. Kinesis keyboard. I put my hand here. Actually, if you want to, I did a video of Kinesis keyboard and a couple of my other keyboards. It's on YouTube, so you can just go to my YouTube channel and you'll see it. So fun keyboards, keypads. These are programmable keypads. Now programmable keypads are critical because uh, no, normally you have to use Control C to copy, Control V to paste, and so on. But with a programmable keyboard, you just press one key. Like that's what I'm doing now. For example, let me see what I want to do. Uh, So WebDog says those one-handed keyboard on another level. Whoa, hi whoa. Whoa says Motron is my dream keyboard. Yeah, I think Motron is great, but Motron is very expensive. Kinesis is God tier, but looks pretty bad. Kinesis looks pretty bad. Why? Because it's odd shaped. So you see here we have Motron and Kinesis. The Motron looks bigger, but actually they are the same size. I mean, the Motron just look, exactly the same size as the Kinesis. Uh, but for example, you can compare the pictures here. This is someone's picture. So both of these are my keyboards. So this is a Kinesis keyboard. This is a normal keyboard on top of it. So you can see they have actually about the same width. Uh, but however, with a standard keyboard, you put your hands, on the letters side. When you want to reach the mouse, you have to jump over the arrow keys and number pad. But with Kinesis, it's like, it's right behind my hand. You know, like it's right here. I don't have to jump. So because a lot of people buying Kinesis, a lot of people doesn't like the number pad. That's a huge gap between your keyboard and mouse. Um, yeah, actually, let's get back to. Let me quickly go over this topic because then we can actually focus on some specific thing we can talk about. So anyway, fun keyboard is just a bunch of funky ones. This programmable keypad is actually with display, and this is very good. This is cheap. This is I think 120 or 150, something like that. You go to Amazon and you check it out. And each key is a little TV. Uh, and this is a programmable keypad. So you can set it to Firefox, Google Chrome, Emacs or Terminal, Photoshop or whatever. Just press a single key. That's what I'm doing. That's what I do now. Because you see, I don't have a programmable keypad like right now, but I have. Let me show you. You see you see that number pad. This is actually just a normal number pad. However, I'm using a software, Mac OS software uh, called this name. Let's go to here. Uh, yeah, Carabiner. So I'm using Carabiner to program the number pad key so that for example I you know so what I have copy, cut, paste. Let's see. Let me show you. Uh, okay, so here, so this is copy, hey, copy, cut, paste. No, wait. Select all, copy, paste. Back browser, forward browser, previous page, next page, previous tab, next tab. This is increase font size, decrease font size. This is close window. This is close window. One of them is reopen last closed by mistake. If I close by mistake, I can just press a key, reopen last closed. So for example, I can do it right now. Ooh, shit. I just closed the window I didn't want to close. That was the oh yeah, that was the photo booth. So anyway, so if I go here, now you can see. Okay, close window. Reopen. Yeah, reopen is this one. And refresh is this one. Refresh. For example, I go down, refresh. Anyway, so everything is one key, one single key operation. So that way it's good for your hand health. You don't have to hold down control keys and stuff. But some people will say, "Oh, but it's much slower." Well, it technically is slower, but long term, if you really type a lot, like I sit in front of computer almost like 10 hours a day, for past 10 years, and every day, and if you type a lot, then that's something you want to consider. You don't want you want single key operations. Never hold down Control Alt. You don't want to do that. Okay, so this fun keyboard and keypads, and this section is do-it-self keyboards. Now there are like thousands of do-it-self keyboards. These keyboards are like you go to a website, you buy the components. For example, this one, you buy the components and you have to assemble it yourself. The electronics, the keys. You have to use a soldering. So you have to spend like half a day to assemble it. So here's a video. You can see typing on that keyboard, and so on. So each one of these. So this one is like Kinesis. Is actually I tried this in a keyboard meetup. So they have a keyboard meetup in Bay Area over here, and like every year. They also have that in other cities. I know there's one in, I think, in New York. I mean, major cities usually you have it. Now, if you are interested, you go to Reddit r mechanical keyboard, and you can see all the groups, the fans, keyboard fans, and people. They talk about that, and also they announce meetups over there. Or you can ask people. People will tell you. Um, and they have in other countries as well. I know they are in Japan. I know they are in Australia, you know. So Breakthrough says the custom number pad is good idea. I like that. Yeah. And so if you like that, I have like tutorials showing you how to do that, how to program that. So for example, if you go to keypads, so I mean the best solution if you want, single function keys, the best solution is actually just buy a programmable keypad. So here on this page I list all the options you can buy. All these are good ones. All these are good ones. Um, so all these are programmable keypads. They vary from like cheap, like $30 to over $100. Like this one. This one is also with the TV screens. Each one is a little TV screen. And they feature different. Their programmability differ a little bit. For example, anyway, I might talk about that later. But so all these are programmable keyboards. So that's the best one. You want to get that. Why? Because when you have a programmable keyboard, you program the keys one shot, one time, okay, and it's burned into the memory, so it's part of the hardware. And also, when you press a key, for example, if you set one of the keys to Control C, you press it, it'll just send out Control C uh, by hardware, the electronics to the USB. Um, but if you are using your operating system to program the keys, for example, I set a key to do Control C, that's not direct. That goes through the OS. Then OS does key translation. Then it sends to your app. uh, that always have glitches. Like it doesn't matter it's on Linux, on Windows, on Mac. It always have problems. Like sometimes it doesn't work, or in some applications it doesn't work. Things like that. But the firmware, these programmable keypads with a memory on them, it always works. You 100% because the keyboard is actually sending the correct signal. So that is why you want the actual programmable keypads, or keyboards with the memory on them. Also, it's important you want to make sure they have the memory on them. Like some gaming keyboards, they are programmable keyboards such as those made by Razer. They require to install their cloud software. If you don't have account or you don't have connection to internet, all your programmable keys doesn't work. It doesn't work anymore. So with programmable keypads and with memory on them, you can, plug it in, go to your office and plug it in, and it'll work right away as you programmed it. So that's why programmable keypads are the best choice. Now, of course, they are more expensive, but if you don't want to spend that, for example, this one made by Razer. So it looks great, right? You got this ergonomic, but it's crap. The Razer company in some cases they intentionally remove the memory, remove the firmware. They want you to install their app. Like Razer, they have the fancy word synapse and register an account. So you are always connected to their cloud. They also, of course, they can monitor what you do. So don't never buy anything made by Razer. That's my recommendation. Never buy anything made by Razer. Okay, so if you don't want to spend that much, okay, here's a big one. If you don't want to spend that much money on a programmable keypad, then you buy a numeric keypad. Now, if you have a normal standard keyboard, usually there's a numeric keypad. Now, for many people, you don't use that. But actually, that's a very good thing because you can program those keys on your normal standard keyboard, and use that as a single press key for copy paste. Switch to Emacs or whatever. Just press it one time. Or switch windows, switch tabs, switch uh, any application. You can program it. So So on Windows and Mac, let me show you. So if you go to key how to this tab, click it, open it. This page is about how to program your keyboard using the operating system software. So you have one for Microsoft Windows. Basically, the best one is AutoHotkey. Just install that, run it. I have a tutorial here you can look into. So AutoHotkey lets you. It has lots of features. AutoHotkey language is pretty lousy, but you know, um, but it's very useful. So here are all the tips about key shortcuts, keyboards, key binding on Windows. Um, then I have a bunch of articles on Linux. Linux is more complicated, but anyway, I have tutorials on how to remap keys and so on. And then there's a bunch of on Mac. Now, basically on the Mac, the one you want to use is Carabiner. So I have a list of tools here. Of course, on the Mac OS, you have built-in feature to let you swap caps lock or control or option command keys. That's built in. Then Carabiner is basically the most popular and very powerful software today. Um, then there are a bunch of others. App Launcher is another one. There's a bunch of others. I've been using a Mac since 1991, and I've been monitoring. For much of the past 20 years, or 30 years, I know almost every key application on the Mac. In the very beginning, in the 1990s, the best one is called. I don't know if I still have that listed here anymore, but Quick Key. Yeah, that one is called Quick Key, Quickey, and that was the earliest one and the best one. They still sell that, I think. But anyway, here's a bunch of tools you can, I heard good things about them because otherwise I wouldn't put it here. So, bunch of tools for automation, key bindings, launching apps, typing today's date, typing abbreviations. You can all program it. So that's the key how-to section. Then there's about Emacs. For Emacs, then it's a another word by itself. I have all these tutorials you can learn how to reset keys on Emacs, and some mousing tips, and also there are software for logging your keystrokes. Um, you might want to try to install that, especially if you are heavy keyboard users, because once you know you got the actual data about what keys you press the most, what shortcut you press the most, you can actually learn. If you have hand pen, for example, you can start to design. Okay, I want. You can see, maybe you might see. Okay, this is a shortcut. I press it most of the time, all the time, and it's very hard to press. So you want to eliminate that. For example, you assign a single key to do that shortcut. So here's a bunch of key logging software. So back to the number pad. So get a programmable key. First of all, get a programmable keyboard. Okay. Now, when you get a programmable keyboard, there's ergonomic ones, or you can get the non-ergonomic ones. Now, which to choose, that's up to you, of course, but I would recommend, basically, if you type a lot, or you have hand pen, or if you use Emacs, then I highly recommend you get an ergonomic one. Okay, but in any case, you want to get a programmable keyboard. Okay, you want to get a programmable keyboard with onboard memory. I gave the reason why before, because it's direct and it's on the memory. You can plug it in at home, at office, it'll work as the way you program the keys. For example, all these, here's a list of programmable keyboards with onboard memory, all of them. and uh, so any of these keyboard you can set a key to press Control C if you want, which is good because in this case, for example, on my Kinesis right now, let me show you. Now, Kinesis also has the on-the-fly programmable feature. That means I don't have to actually, launch some software application to program the keys. If I want to reprogram the keys, I can just press one of these keys and start to set a key. But I want to show you this. Let me see if I can do this. You see, I'm going to press this key, single key. What that key will do is switch me to the last application. Okay, I guess I need a wide angle camera, but let me see. Okay, watch. I'm not sure you can see that. Do you see that kind of? Basically, that key switches me to the last window. Uh, and it works because the keyboard is a programmable keyboard. So I have that key set to. It's actually doing when I press that key. It's actually doing command tab. So you see, in my various videos, you have never seen me press this. Have you ever seen me this come up? You never see it because I never use it. Why do I never use it? Because this switch application shortcut is very inefficient. First of all, it's a key combination. You have to hold down control or command, then you press the tab, then you have to look like which is the one I want, that takes some brain cycle, when you do that, it's not good in general because it drains your brain energy. Then you have to press the tab and decide which one, so that's not good. Then you have to release it, then instead you rather want a single key, like right now, like one key, one key, one key, one key. If I want to switch to Emacs, I also um, press one key. I don't have the key right now for that key because, well, for reasons, because the function keys is too tiny and all my keypad keys are used up, so I do not have one single key to go to Emacs. I used to have like one single key just get me to Emacs, one single key get me to specific browser like Chrome, another key get me to Firefox and so on. But I'm out of keys, so I need more. Yeah, I need to get more. I need to get a real programmable keypad. Right now I just only have this number keypad. So let's check some of the comments. Requiring a cloud service to use a keyboard is laughable. Yeah, Razer is doing that. Very very bad. Because Razer market to gamers, and a lot of them for young people, they don't know much. They are going after the cool stuff. Whatever is cool, whatever is popular, whatever is used by celebrities. Like the gaming champions. They pay the gaming champions to take photos with their keyboard, of course. So yeah, so that's a Razer. Uh, the Apple Magic Trackpad is very popular in Silicon Valley companies, but I prefer a mouse myself. Yeah, yeah. Break the roof. Yeah, quick keys. It get back to 80s. Wow. Oh wow, Norman, I didn't know that. I started to use it in 1991, basically 1991. Yeah, maybe it. Well, I can't say for sure. So yeah, but anyway, I started to use in 1991. That was superb. It's like well, anyway, Mac in general. Mac design is really good. Um, even back in the 1990s, especially in the 1990s, Mac design, because back then, most Windows are, half of the they are still using DOS and line. You don't have graphics actually. It is the Mac that introduced that to the wide population. Then you have Windows 3, Windows 95. You started to have graphics then stuff. So okay, let me go. Do-it-self keyboards. There are so many varieties now because I almost like basically I stopped uh, updating this page. Let's magnify because because they are endless. I mean, basically all the major key design shapes are already out there, and you know different people can still create minor variations, but it's almost the same. Like if you look at this one, this one, it's like they all like almost the same. But you know but this is important. Okay, even though if two of them look the same, for example this one and this one, ergo dash versus fortitude, for example, when two keyboards they look like almost the same, but actually a tiny difference in placement keys actually affect whether possibly you might develop hand pain. Actually, that happened to me. With an example of Microsoft Natural keyboard. The two versions versus the Microsoft Natural 4000. I never had a problem on the Natural keyboard, but the Microsoft 4000 came out, and it looks, in every way it's improved, more curves and more shapes. So I switched that. Then I one day, I got pen. I got pen. Oh, that was the this pen. And and I didn't know what happened. When you have pain like that, it's very horrifying. Like one day, I remember like one day I woke up in the morning. Okay, I had hand discomfort. In that during that those weeks, but one day I just wake up without getting to the keyboard yet. I felt a tingling. It was my left hand, I think. It's just like a tingling, like a sensation that just goes over. When I just woke up, and that was very scary. I mean, it's not like funny tingling, or it was. I know something is wrong. Something is wrong because I'm feeling a lot discomfort. Because if you can't type anymore, then that's the end. So I was, during that time. This is like around 2009. You know, s- since 2006 when I started first have discomfort. Then every 2 years it happened again. On something else. It just like almost unpredictable. Then every 2 years, 2 or 3 years, so there's something else happening. During a period. You know, because when I finish it, you know, and I discovered what's the problem, and I thought, oh, I just changed the keyboard. Now it's all good. Yeah, it's good. It's good for a year and two. Then suddenly there's something else, like magical, appearing from nowhere. Something happened. So anyway, every like two or three maybe 3 years, I had some issues. Like right now, I have the issue of my left arm just over here. Now each time this occurrence, this episode, about happens, you don't know exactly what's causing it. For me, for my personal case, again, it's very different for each person. It depends on your health, depends on your, maybe body weight. It depends on, what your inheritance, so everyone is different. But for me, like every 3 years, the problem appears to be different. I mean, it's not something relapsed, happen again. It's not that. And because I've been studying keyboards, since I've been reading keyboards since 1991 a lot. I went to the library when there's no internet. I went to the library. I read about the Vorak layout, the history, stuff. and I switched to Vorak since 1994, purely for the reason of my pursuit of efficiency. I have a obsession towards efficiency because so since I learned about Vorak, I cannot stand QWERTY anymore. But I switched not because I had some hand problems. No, I never had any problems until 2005, 2006. That's when I was typing on a Apple laptop all day, for like several hours a day for 2 years exclusively, because that's when I was living in my car at those years. So that's when I had the hand pen. But I didn't have hand problems the 15 years prior before that. I'm typing every day. I didn't have problems. Uh, so anyway, so since 2006, I had problems, recurring problems. The hand issues, discomfort every 2 or 3 years. But each time it seems to me the reason that caused it is different. And each time when this happens, like when I have discomfort, you try to find out what exactly is the cause. Um, Again, like there's no one cause. Like each person is different, and for me, each occurrence of the hand discomfort is also different. Each occurrence is different, and also in general, stress will worsen it. If you have stress, whatever stress, wherever stress come from, maybe at work, at home, at family, or whatever, stress also will make it worse. Like if I have a hand pain and if I'm in a situation that's stressful, it'll become more painful. It's like the psychology. The your mind has a lot to do with it too. I mean, although we don't, the science don't know exactly. Like some people, um, I mean, there is definitely a connection of body and mind. The way you think, or it can affect your physical wellness. For example, the placebo effect. There is we so far, we don't understand exactly why it works, but it does works sometimes for in a lot of cases, but we don't know why. We don't exactly know why. And also another thing I want to mention, like when you read, if you have hand discomfort and when you read online, there are some websites that suggest kind of like you know kind of like meditation kind of thing. Okay, you don't want to trust that. You want to be careful because according some site, I mean, there's a popular website who the guy, who is a programmer. He started a company or something. But anyway, he's a programmer, and one day he had RSI, and he's suffering hand pain, and he see doctors is basically the doctors cannot solve the problem. That is also true. In general, when you have hand pain, you go to see a doctor even after surgery. Uh, often it does nothing to you. You still have pain. This is true from a lot of accounts from people I know. This is true. So you basically you want to avoid RSI. You want to just don't get it. But anyway, so there's this guy who says then he finally discovered the solution. The solution is that it's kind of a new age occultism stuff. Like the solution is basically just like meditate or think about like thinking some kind of thinking training. Like what he says is that look at my friends over there. They sit. They don't have the right posture, and they are typing all day more than me. However, they never have any problems. That's true. You look at some people, they are like that. They sit weird, and it seems they don't have any problems. But so he create. He says that you have to. His solution is that you have to buy a book, or I think. But then basically some kind of think training. Don't trust that. That's not science. That's basically that's not science. That's something out there. And there are also some programmers, they tried alternative, so-called alternative, medication like uh, 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 acupuncture, chiropractics. Uh, Again, they don't really, they are kind of like cracky. I wouldn't trust it. But anyway, so back to the hand pen. So each time is different. So whenever that happens, I try to trace, exactly what's wrong, and that's usually hard. I cannot. It's very hard to pinpoint exactly what did I do wrong. I mean, is it a particular habit, or is it a particular way I press some keys? But each time I have, most of the time, okay, it happens every 3 years. But I have a documentation here. So if you go to typing, now in this section, it's all about typing habits, repetitive strain injury. Um, so I discuss, how to touch type, typing games, website for typing games, and measure your typing speed, and some bad advice from programmers about typing. Uh, when you want typing advice, or shortcut advice, don't listen to programmers. They know nothing about it. You want to ask those people who do data entry, like the data entry clerks types 10 times more than programmers. You want to listen to those people's opinion. For example, for example, this Motron keyboard. You see this video. This guy is a professional transcript, stenography transcript. So you know you want to get his opinion. So he has a blog about this keyboard. So you know and that's why I also mentioned you want to the keyboard tools. Let's see, Hira layout history, key how to. That's why I mentioned about the key log, uh, list of keylog software, because when you don't have statistics, the keylog will give you the actual data, just exactly how much you type. That's important because programmers, let's say you type this much. Now the data entry clerks types 100 times more than you. Although you think, I'm a programmer, I sit in a computer all day, I type a lot. Actually, if you type everything you need to type in a day continuously, it might be just 5 minutes, literally. So that's why the key log is important when you have hand pen, or when you want to when you want efficient key binding or whatever, Emacs, Pinky, or whatever. I mean, if you are interested in this topic, you want to start to record your key log. Once you have the key log, then you know exactly how much you type, what you type, which key you press the most often. Solid data. That's the point. Solid data. So when you listen to programmers' opinions, they have a bunch of garbage. Like, uh, okay, here's the example. How many keystrokes programmers type a day? I have measured mine since about 5 years ago. Now this one in particular is from Emacs. Uh, it's a 2 years worth of keys in Emacs. When I'm typing, I'm almost always in Emacs. So here's my key log. So I know exactly how many keys I press a day. It's like 13K keys per day here. Uh, so if we assume 50 words per minute, then assume typing every day, no weekend, no holiday, then my typing load is equivalent to continuously typing for 60 minutes a day, so 1 hour a day. So that's my key log. You want to do that if you have any concerns about keys or key bindings. I mean, the concern comes in many ways. For example, if you have hand pen, then you want key log. If you're using Emacs, you have hand discomfort, you want key lock. If you want to design, if you are designing a keyboard layout, for example, if you go here, layout. So this section is all about layout. Layout is arrangement of the alphabets on the keyboard. So you have lots of layouts. So here's a QWERTY, the normal QWERTY. Here's a Vorak. They have AOEU. So these are layouts. There are quite a few. There are tens, over 10, more than 10 of them. So if you are designing a layout, then you want a key log. So basically, if you are serious about certain aspect of keyboard, you want to start to have your key log. Okay, Norman says my RSI comes in cycles also. Changing keyboards seems to relieve it. No idea what exactly is the cause. Yeah, that's I agree. Sometimes you just want to like change the keyboard. Sometimes that helps. I agree. So so each time, like every 3 years, it looks like to me I have different problem. So but one of the problem, I have a account. Let's see, typing. Go to typings. So here is a habit and injury. Okay. Why undo shortcut keys are bad. Okay. Mechanical keyboard and repetitive strain injury. Okay. You want to get mechanical keyboard, mechanical keys. That's really good for you. Then I have like okay, here's my record. Xah keyboarding RSI experience 1992 to 2013, 2017. Basically each time my RSI happens, I try to write it down, have a record of it. So here's my summary. But anyway, I'm just gonna talk about one of them as an example. Here, so this is the one. So in 2010, is my second brush with RSI. Okay, the first one is like 2005, because I was typing on a laptop for 2 years. So 2010 is my second instance it happened. Back then I was using the Microsoft 4000. Remember that keyboard I mentioned? That Microsoft 4000, which is still they still sell it today. It is this keyboard. So before this keyboard, I was using this. But the 4000 came out. So I bought it. I thought it's upgrade. I got a new keyboard, new toy. It's got the zoom buttons and it's got So I changed it. But on this keyboard, I got the problem. So 2010, second brush with RSI, due to bad habit of pressing keys 1 and 2, the key 1 and 2 on the left hand, induced by the Microsoft 4000 keyboard. Okay, and I have full detail here. So in this occurrence, when it happens, it's really horrible. I mean, it's not fun. I mean, it's no joke, because back then, I remember it. Back there at the time, it happens. You are thinking, oh my God, I cannot type anymore. That's it. that's it. That's it for your programming career. It's really bad. I was very scared. But after a month, I can't find out why is I forgot. Yeah, I think it was here. I cannot find out why it hurts. I don't know, because I was thinking, I'm typing on Vorak. I'm using an ergonomic keyboard. I'm fairly healthy. What possibly could go wrong? Why do I have this? It just it's like semi pain, but I know it's going to get worse if it continues. All RSI is like that. At first, you have maybe numbness or tingling. If you delay, oh, I'll check it out. I'll maybe it'll go away. It'll get worse, and eventually pain will come. That's when you have numbness or tingling, that's the sign you want to go all out. find the solution. Why find out what's wrong? You want to maybe see a doctor. But anyway, so it happened. So I don't know what's wrong, but after 1 month, I finally discovered I was pressing a key. So on that keyboard, okay, not the others, not any other, just on that keyboard, I developed a habit. Whenever I want to press the one or two, I twist my wrist like this and use my index finger to press the two or one. I just developed that habit on that specific keyboard. This habit does not form when I'm using the other one. So that's the one of the important point I want to mention, because all these keyboards, for example, all these PC keyboard or ergonomic keyboard, they look like the same, but actually even tiny differences in their shape, in their height, just for one of the keys, it can create this kind of problem. So it's different. So I got that. So finally, I discovered that problem. Then I try to move my hand. Then I try to I move my hand like that. Then immediately I can feel a pain. You know, that's when I realized that is the cause. At that time for that. So so I stopped. Stop pressing the key by moving my hand that way. Just use. Maybe I should just lift my hand and press that key. So that's one of the example of the RSI for me occurrence. Uh, let's go back to the let's see. So let's go back. So yeah, that's 2010. Then 2012 is another one. So what's this one? Pressing X key too much. Exactly. Okay, that's another interesting story. This is another interesting story because well, you can read the my article, but that this is another instance where I had pain. Then finally, eventually I discovered what is the cause. I pinpointed it. I found out the exact cause of that. So that's this article. Um, then what's the next incidence? So 2016. So yeah, okay. So every 4 or 5 years. 2016, feeling discomfort, wrist pronation problem. Okay, yeah, I remember that. Wrist pronation is that like if you have a keyboard, these flat keyboards, you when you put your hands on the keyboard, um, it's that. But if you are using ergonomic keyboard, it's like that. So this way is more comfortable, but this way is not. This is a normal keyboard. I have this problem. This is a wrist pronation problem. Why? Because I was using. Let me show you this keyboard. I was using. If you go to keyboard history, so here's a bunch of historical keyboards. Keyboard history. Then you go to ergonomic keyboard history over here. Now here is a bunch of ergonomic keyboards, the history of ergonomic keyboard. Then you go to this one, truly ergonomic keyboard, 2000. This one came out in 2013. I was using this keyboard at that time for again more than 10 hours a day, 10 hours a day for like 2 or 3 years. This is flat, as you can see. It's flat. Oh, I have a YouTube video uh, showing that keyboard review. I'm doing a review of that keyboard. But anyway, you can see it's flat, so it's not tented. Usually when keyboard can like in two pieces or not necessarily two pieces. Some one piece keyboard they also have tent like my Kinesis. So when you have it's called tenting. It's like a tent. That's what they call it, tenting. So when you have a tented, so I didn't have tent, but I was putting on my hand, on this keyboard all day, 10 hours a day. I got problems. You know, to average people, you may think, how could anyone get problems? Because look at it this way: they are tortured, in the back medieval times, where they put person, in a cage, like you cannot move. If you don't move like for 5 hours, you get pain, extreme pain, because I have, I have done, because when I was younger, I was sitting on a chair, well, and also in the past few years, because I'm sitting in front of a computer all the time, not moving, I discovered it does havoc to your body. You start to have back pain, and also so to a normal people, you cannot imagine how is it possible to just put your hand like that. How is it possible you're gonna have pain? It happened to me. You put your hand flat on a table, just leave it there, do nothing. 10 hours, 10 hours, do a few days. You're gonna have pain. So wrist pronation is important. You want to and, and you want to do that. This is another thing. Ulnar deviation, which is solved by this keyboard. Um, so anyway, okay, so how long have I been going? Oh wow, 70 minutes. Okay, I think maybe we should wrap it up. I got so many things to cover. Yeah, many things we didn't cover, but um, so I'm so WebDog says I'm going to make the thumb keys my modifier keys on the ergodox. Okay, thumbs are too strong of fingers to be wasted on just the spacebar. Uh, okay, there's one thing I want to say about thumb, using the thumb. There's one thing you want to be careful, because the let's go to ergodox. So do it yourself. Hi Kirk, great to see you, Kirk. Kirk says I have exposed. It's okay. Cherry red caused me to make way too many typos. Oh, okay. So I guess you are big. You have bigger body frame than me. Yeah. Did you get used to it, or is it? I mean, is it okay now, or you still rather have like cherry brown? So let's go. Let's look at the ergodox. So ergodox. So one thing, ergodox, there's a flaw, we can say it's a flaw that a lot of people complain, is that the thumb keys are actually too far away from, too far outside. So you have to extend, stretch your thumb to press, maybe the second thumb key. So a lot of people, this is one of the common complaint. And in fact, there is one guy, this guy, he wrote an article. You can read his article here. I quoted here, but the original website is here, Geek Hack. So basically, he's a big fan. Well, that's Geek Hack. But basically, that guy, what's his name? Uh, Diarid, something like that. So he's a big fan of Ergodox keyboard. So he got like a couple, and he uses it all the time. And one day he noticed pain. Eventually, the pain is traced back to uh, hitting the thumb key. The thumb key caused the pain because he's doing, extending his thumb in some way, something like that. It's a thumb key. So you want to be careful of that, especially if your hand is not very big. If your hand is big, you just rest on the thumb, that's fine. But if somehow maybe your hand is too small, or the direction isn't right or something, you want to be careful. So once he had a pen, his solution is he threw away all his ergodox keyboards. He switched back to the normal keyboard, normal mechanical, flat PC keyboard. That's what he did. But it was a big story because you can see he spent like over $1,000 on keyboard. He became a keyboard fan, and he became a ergodox fan. Oh, it's ergonomic, and key bindings and Vim and stuff. I think he's a Vim user or maybe Emacs. I forgot which. But then eventually he got this pen. Then he threw away the ergodox. He switched back to. So that's one thing you want to look out. This also happens on the Kinesis. So on Kinesis, you got these thumb keys. I've been careful too. My hand. Let me show you. My hand is not big. It's a typical Asian hand. So normally, if I put my hand there, it's like this is probably natural. You know, if I push it a bit, it's on this key. Then if I press this key out, I certainly need to stretch. So I don't stretch. Don't do that. Instead, do like that. Move your whole hand. That's what I do. So I don't do that. Don't do that. Do this. Yes, this is good. This is good. This is good. Like move your whole hand. Don't, anytime you notice yourself doing, like kind of like stretch, just stop that. You want to avoid that. I mean, it's up to, I mean, of course, it depends on how much you type. If you look at your mom or your dad or your granddad, they don't type much. Maybe they just use a computer for 5 minutes a day. That's all right. Maybe if you are a programmer, but depends on how much you actually type. For most programmers, they don't actually type that much. So for most programmers, they don't see the point of Kinesis. I'm not going to spend $300 on this weird thing on my desk. They are perfectly happy with one of these normal nice normal PC keyboard. They cannot see why do you have so many weird opinions about keyboard. They don't see it. This is works fine for them, which is true because they don't, maybe actually they don't type that much. Average programmers, you don't, because you have to go to meetings, lunch and whatever. You actually only code maybe 2 hours a day, and a month, during the 2 hours, the actual time you are typing is maybe just 10 minutes. It's literally, so that's why I say, the key logger is important. Get the key logger, then you have the actual data, just how much you type, exactly. That's the point. So let's read some comments. So I'm going to. So if you have a question, ask. Let's ask it. And I'm going over like I went over like 80 minutes now. So let's wrap it up. I probably talked too much repetitions. I'm getting better. I'm getting better. Actually, I'm getting better with my videos. Now I can actually kind of grab one topic and express what I wanted to say in a more or less coherent manner, and not afraid. Like before, I'm not sure. Oh, maybe this is something I shouldn't say. Oh, people will think that's no good. So I'm getting better. Having done a lot of videos now. But I think I still a lot of parts I need to improve. Like sometimes I'm repetitous. Like some things I repeat. Over several times or something. And also the articulation I'm getting better, but the expressiveness, the grasp of the correct English word, the proper term to describe some feelings or expressions, that like Jordan Peterson, he's the perfect guy. He's the best at that. When he want to describe some complex ideas, he always came out with a one sentence. Each word is the perfect word for that situation. But usually my diction, the words I use are usually like very basic, like it's almost like basic English. By the way, basic English is a thing. It's a language. It's kind of a simplified language. But anyway, part of the reason I use basic, I don't use much of jargons. That's also intentional. But that's another topic, because I want to avoid any loaded words, any complex words. anything like that. I don't want to academic words. I want to use words that average people, even including uh, the native English speakers. For example, my Chinese friends or people in Morocco. Hey, in other countries, they can understand. Um, so that's one thing. Anyway, so let's go back to the topic. Uh, so yeah, be careful with the thumb key, and I used Berkeley Spring Unicomp for years. Oh, I see, right. Several months later, then I'm okay with the Expose Red. I see. Okay, cool. So I think that's it today. So actually, maybe let me show you this. Hold on a second. So I did all this talking without showing you some of the keyboard. I actually took it out and put it here. I want to. Yeah, but my camera, I have a lousy camera, so my camera right now it cannot focus, and I have two cameras. The other one is this one. That one is Logitech. Okay, hold on a second. Um, that is really bad. The Logitech 920. It's really bad. It cannot focus. It cannot focus on anything close. And the one I'm using right now is like 15 years old webcam, Logitech webcam. So anyway, but anyway, I did a video on this one. You can see on YouTube. This one I never did a video of. Let's see. But I'm going to. I need to get a camera that can do that. So thank you, WebDog. Trackpad. Norman says trackpad and mouse. Let me put this away. Shit, wires. I don't like. There's of course most people use wireless today, but there's one thing I don't really like about wireless is that I'm paranoid about the security thing. I don't want people to be hackers to be able to, especially keyboard. For mouse it's less important, but actually not really, because for example, if you go to typings, key bindings, key how to um, let's see, key binding design. Okay, I forgot where, but if you go to the key, uh, okay, software, yeah, key how to software. Then you go to, okay, key logging and security. You see, there are hackers that creates these many instances of it. Okay, for example, this one, there are hackers that creates sniffers. It looks like a charger, but it actually can detect. It can record any Microsoft keyboard, wireless keyboard, in the vicinity. It just looks like a normal charger, or whatever device. So you go to your office, you put it there, then you can monitor, within 10 meters, or any person who are using a Microsoft keyboard. Actually, you log their keystrokes and send to your web server. This is real. I mean, this is, but this is few years ago. This is back in, it's few years ago. So it seems so since that, so newer Microsoft keyboard, they have methods to prevent that. Okay, so wireless keyboard is a security issue, but also wireless mouse is also a security issue because it turns out, the firmware they use for the wireless reception and communication, they actually, it appears to me, I'm not an expert, I didn't look into, I don't program hardware, so but according to the web, I've read, so they apparently, many of them, they use the same software, the same firmware, and this firmware is actually keyboard and mouse combined, into one. So when you are, if you have a mouse using that software, okay, it's receiving mouse signals. I mean, it's sending mouse signals, and okay, but it can also send keyboard signals because the mouse and key receiver, the software is written together as one package. So when hacker is able to hack into, wirelessly hack into your mouse, he can also, send commands, so your mouse computer start to type keys, type whatever, switch browser, launch this, look at your photos and stuff, send it to their server. So so that's why I don't really trust wireless mouse neither. Like normally the thinking is, mouse just move around, it doesn't really, it's okay if people know where you click, because actually, at the FBI level, they have software that actually even track, which window, like exactly what you click, they have that. It's getting, anyway. So trackball versus mouse versus touchpad. Okay. uh, so touchpad, trackball, I'm a trackball nerd. Okay, I have always been fascinated by trackball. So I got this Logitech. This thing is like very old, like 20 years old. Not this one though, but I mean the model. Um, and I have a review on my website too. Like if you go to trackball, if you want to buy trackball, so if you want big trackball, these are the best ones. If you want a small trackball, these are the best ones. The Logitech is no good. You don't want to buy. No buy. These are no good. Uh, but okay, so I have a fascination with trackball since like in the 1990s, but I never used one until maybe 5 years ago. I have this one and this one. I only have these two. So I don't actually have the others. Um, but I mean, I read the reviews. Most of my reviews is like I spend hours. I have the obsession. Like, for example, this one, I spend 2 hours a day read about it. Some website. Next month I spend three hours. So each page, I read all Amazon's reviews. Like maybe there's a few hundred. I read them all. I read them all on Geek Hacks, whoever mentioned it, so I read all reviews, all people say about, what happens, with these, and also YouTube videos. I scoured all the YouTube videos about, the keyboard or trackball or stuff. So anyway, so yeah, the trackball, trackball is so I have an article here, trackball versus mouse, where I dive into the question, which is better, which is actually more intuitive. The trackball users usually say trackball is more intuitive. I'm a trackball fan for like 20 years before I actually use one, but I'm still just obsessed about the question, so like theoretically, which should be better, because human computer interaction and so on. But anyway, I've been using trackball for 5 years now. uh, and in general today, if you ask me to choose only one, I would pick mouse, not trackball, because trackball's got, so it is actually more intuitive. If you have a person who never used both, I think trackball is more easier get to use to. Anyway, I have this article that talks about in detail some of these issues. So who uses trackball usually, and stuff, many issues. But today, if you ask me to choose only one, I would choose mouse, because trackball, you have the cleaning problem. I mean, today it's so easy, it's very easy to clean. You just take it out. There's a hole here. You just pop it out, and you just take a tissue here. Let's do that. So, the camera is bad, but anyway, there are 3 points. You just wipe it, wipe it. So you can see, but anyway, you wipe it, and then you just pop it back, and it becomes smooth. Oops. Um, where is it? Okay. So anyway, so but the problem is you still have to do that every week or two. Basically, you don't want to do that. I don't want to. Even it just takes 10 seconds. That's a problem. I mean, that's the problem for everyone. Like usually, that's not what people want to do. With mouse, also with mouse is actually more accurate. I mean, it's more of if you are playing fighting games, what they call first person shooter games. Actually, mouse is, I think, in my opinion, is scientifically more efficient, meaning, or more accurate, meaning that if you survey, like, let's say 1,000 people using the mouse for the first time, and 1,000 people using trackball for the first time, you let them play, first person shooter games. You train them every day, for, let's say, a month. I think the mouse users on average will beat the trackball for sure. Absolutely. Like, will wipe out the trackball players. Doesn't matter how good is your trackball, which model, doesn't matter. So that's, so there are these issues, several opinions. But however, I think trackball is more healthy. Eye track. Oh yeah, yeah. I remember you have an eye track. About touchpad, I never really liked using touchpad. Okay, maybe I was going to show you this. Yeah, but another day. I've been talking like for half an hour. How many people are watching? 9. Great. Uh, yeah. So originally I had several issues. I'm not sure I've even covered. Well, I mean a lot. Um, Well, I guess that's it for today then. So, we talked about 90 minutes. Thank you guys for coming. I'll see you next time.